Welcome to the Best by the Worst. The best movies of all time, reviewed by the worst possible critics. If you don't believe us, keep listening to find out. Oh boy.
Welcome back, Barrett.
Welcome back. Back in the Little Doves. I would tell you a Little Dove story, but I feel I've told it recently.
Yeah, so these are the other little doves that we didn't drink from the other day.
Came in a 4-pack. We're going to keep drinking them because we love Gage Roads. Wow, what is that?
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest pour.
I've also not done well.
That's okay.
We'll put that down.
We'll finish it off in a sec.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Barrett.
Yeah, a little bit lit.
If
I'm brutally honest, we've been playing a drinking game that I found on Tumblr.
Yeah.
In relation to the movie.
And we thought we'd stack the drinks that we've had around us, but then we thought, no, let's look more wholesome than that.
We can, yeah. We can look perfectly legit.
And that's what we've done.
Yes.
But we have had a few drinks. And like you said, you found that drinking game, and I think it was the right time to bring a drinking game into this podcast, and that was because this movie was 4 hours long.
Yes, we've been playing a drinking game for 4 hours. We missed our last shots. We've been having a shot every hour for the last 4 hours, and...
Yeah, we've had 4.
We forgot. No, we didn't have our last shot.
That would make it 5.
No, we've had 3 so far.
No, we haven't.
Shows how hecked you are. We had one at 1 hour, one at 2 hours, one at 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. Quick maths. That adds up.
The quick maths doesn't add up.
Whoops. But we were watching...
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. So, wow.
Yeah.
What an adventure.
Unfortunately, our special guest flaked on us.
Oh, yeah, she did, didn't she? So we were supposed to have Mandy back, but circumstances did not permit her attendance.
Yeah, something about having prior commitments.
And I think the exact words that she used were, I have better friends.
Right.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait for her to hear that.
Yep, we're going to hear about that on the back end.
You think you are? I'm going to cop.
Do you want me to? Do you want me to kick us off by introing the movie? All right. Sure. So we just watched the 1939 winner of Best Picture, Gone with the Wind.
We did.
Almost in the 40s, on the cusp. The movie had a budget of $3.8 million.
That seems like a lot for back then, right?
Yeah, $85 million.
That's huge
in today's money.
It shows. Yeah. I'm curious though, how did the movie perform though? Like how much money did it make back?
An astronomical amount. $390 million.
Like today dollars?
No, back then dollars. And
what?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yes.
So how much is that in today dollars?
I didn't even look.
That's like $1 billion.
Probably.
It's like a Marvel film before Marvel.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit later because I've got a fact about why it earned so much money. I did a little bit of research into why that box office was so high.
Okay.
And we'll come back to that a little bit later.
All right. Sounds good.
Is anyone alive? No.
Oh. Anyone close?
Very close. 2020.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
It would be a good fact to tell you right now who exactly lasted till 2020, but I don't know. It was one of the daughters, and I'm going to presume it was one of the babies from the film.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're getting closer.
We are so close.
We're almost there.
We're on the cusp.
Okay. All right.
Ooh.
Let's not waffle.
Plot?
No. Let's do the facts first.
I don't want to drop my loose plot in.
No.
I love the point where I talk about my loose plot.
All right. Let's plot it.
All right.
You're lucky I like you big lug.
Girl likes guy. Girl marries other guy. No, guy marries other girl.
Yep.
Eventually, girl doesn't get guy of her dreams.
Yep.
Eventually, girl realizes she doesn't want girl of her dreams.
Yep.
There you go. I summarized the entire plot of the movie in 3 sentences.
Yeah. I think there was a civil war in between, but sure. Yeah, we'll call that the plot.
Yeah.
Great. All right, I'm going to take you back to 1939.
Yeah,
Barrett.
1939. Right. I'm very interested because the war must be taking off.
All right, and to be totally honest, I kind of just had to cut off the fun facts because it got busy in 1939,
Really?
especially around World War II. We'll cut to it, but I had to trim it. I just picked a few. Actually, got a couple, two from Australia actually this time, and I thought I just got to leave it here because once World War II kicks off, there's just fun facts left, right, and center.
Fun facts, or just facts?
Yeah. So you would have last episode I commented on that Munich agreement that was made, trying to appease Hitler by annexing a section of Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, they gave him some land to try and give him what he wanted. Yep.
So in this year, not even a year after, I might add, a few months later, but it fell into this year, Hitler summons the Czechoslovakian president. His name was Emil Hirsch or Hirsch.
Not Emil Zola?
No, not Emil Zola. And calls him into a private meeting and says, "Oh, yeah, mate, we're going to invade." Yeah, just no chill. Emil
chill.
has a heart attack in the meeting.
What?
Yep. And just gives it up, basically. Yep. So he has a heart attack in the meeting, completely reneges on the Munich agreement, essentially just annexes the whole agreement, and gives up the land, and they moved in and took over Czechoslovakia.
Wow.
Yeah. Gets spicier. So then,
yeah, keep going.
while all this is happening, the Soviet Union, so Stalin, proposes an alliance with Britain and France, based on what was happening in Germany and Nazi Germany at the time and with Czechoslovakia, and said to Britain and France, let's join together. I'll send 1 million troops over to stop the invasion of Poland and to stop Nazi Germany from spreading, right?
Yep.
He got told no.
Does that pan out to be a bad decision?
Potentially. So Stalin says, okay, well, fuck you, France, fuck you, England, and makes an agreement with Germany instead. Makes a 10-year non-aggression pact with Germany.
Yeah.
World War II starts September 1st. Germany invades Poland.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, that anti-aggression agreement between Germany and Russia also doesn't end well.
It doesn't. But guess what? Like, I think things might have been different had that alliance formed. Might have shielded them from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Would have prevented, or would have made them think twice, I think. But we'll never know.
We will never know.
Yep.
'Cause that is history.
Australian facts.
Yes.
So two that I liked. So you would have remembered that last week I talked about Black Sunday, those waves that took all those people away.
Oh, yeah, from Bondi? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
So in this year, there was a Black Friday as well. Black Friday was a bunch of bushfires that happened. Don't ask me where. I forgot to check. But 20,000 square kilometres got burnt and it killed 71 people.
We've had the Black Friday fires in our lifetime.
Well, this is the first.
Maybe like 2019, 2020?
No, this is Black Friday V1.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about V2, obviously.
Or V3.
Well,
We'll never know.
we will know once we get to 2020.
There you go. And another one. So Sydney reaches 45 degrees Celsius, a record for the city. Which is funny because
45.
you would think global warming would have eclipsed that by
This
now.
is not a conspiracy podcast.
Sorry,
I'm
you're
not
right.
saying that
You're right.
global warming is a conspiracy, but I'm saying we're not going to go down any rabbit holes on this podcast.
I'm not saying we should. I'm just commenting that it reached a record of 45 degrees Celsius in 1939. And I just am curious as to how that would be received if it happened today.
Look, quite regularly over Christmas here, it's 42, 43 degrees.
In Sydney?
In Perth.
Exactly, but not in Sydney.
What's that in Fahrenheit? Did you do the conversion? We have a fair few American listeners.
No, I didn't do the conversion, but it's about time that the Americans join the metric system.
Yes.
And this is now a great time to do that.
Mandy's arriving at some point, so if she does arrive before the end of the episode, we should question her on the spot.
Maybe she can do a conversion for us.
What the conversion is.
Perfect. Great.
Perfect.
That's my facts. What do you think?
Fantastic, as per usual.
And then, mate, it spills over into all this World War II stuff. Like, it is on. It is on. All my facts are going to be World War II related from here on out.
Well, not here on out, because probably 1945 onwards, they're probably going to taper off a little bit.
We'll see.
We will see.
Oh, it'll just then turn into a conspiracy chat.
No. You forget who edits this podcast, and your conspiracy will be gone.
Okay.
I just can't quite see properly, so I'm just gonna
That's all right.
just remove that just quietly.
All right, Barrett, please kick us off on this week's episode.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Look, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I was nervous going into this. How was I going to take notes that accurately summarized a 4-hour plot?
Well, you did recap it in about 12 seconds earlier, so I'm thinking pretty well.
I'm ready to go. All right. So, I'm going to start with a fact, actually, and fact number 3 from my list. So, I don't know why I picked this fact first, but 1942, something happened. So this movie was released in 1939.
Yeah.
It was released. Did you see who it was released by?
No.
In your research? MBM? No.
NBN.
I've got the NBN on my mind. The Australian National Broadband Network they've done me a dirty.
What do you mean? It didn't get connected the other day?
It did not. Second time.
What a surprise.
They failed to do a connection. All right. So, MGM was one of the people that released this movie. Actually, if you look online, you'll see that the movie was released by MGM.
Yeah.
But it was also released by, how do you say this word?
Selznick.
Selznick?
Yeah.
Have you already looked at that?
No.
Oh, so it was also released with Selznick. All right. They were a film company. In 1942, Selznick was liquidated.
Okay.
For tax reasons.
Goddamn tax.
He sold it to a mate or a friend
for
$500,000.
Okay.
Who in then turn on-sold it to MGM for $2.8 million.
Cool.
All right, so the finished movie. So the movie was made as a collaboration between the two labels is the wrong word. Studios.
Yep.
Studios is the right word. And then it was on-sold. As soon as it was on-sold, it was re-released in 1942, 1947, and 1954. Changing colouring a little bit, aspect ratios, those sorts of things.
Wow.
I think that's why it made so much money at the box office, because it went through the box office 4 times in total.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me to my first comment, really. So this was the first movie we watched in colour. We need to talk about that.
Yes.
So I don't know if you checked, but was this because we watched a re-release version that was in colour? Was it originally released in colour, and this is the first movie in our podcast that was in colour? Or was it because the one that we acquired?
I don't know if the DVD that I bought was just the colour version.
Yeah.
But look, everything I've seen on the internet points to this was originally produced in colour. I don't understand how you would colour something now to look like that. That was in a 4:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah, they can do that in post. Haven't you seen all those World War II documentaries that they recolor?
I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
Okay, because I guess I'm curious because there's so many movies we have after this that are still in black and white. And
yes.
I just, if something happened today, if something was filmed in 4K today, the next 7 years of movies wouldn't still be filmed in 1080p. They would also be filmed in 4K.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened.
Okay, interesting.
I think the next color movie we have is coming in 1952 and 1953. I did go through and
this has to be a recolor. That has to have been added after.
Possibly.
All I'm going to say though, it was really nice watching this in color.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
the colors really helped.
Yes, 100%.
Holy crap! If anyone thinks that colors don't make a difference, let me tell you right now, watching a bunch of black and white movies and then shifting to color, staggering.
Yeah, really changed the dynamic. All right, do you want me to start on the story?
Keep going.
All right, so we start with an overture. All right. How long does that go for?
It was a couple of minutes.
Don't know. We fast forwarded it.
We have the luxury of doing that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have an opening scene. They're talking about war. We don't really understand at this point what war they're talking about. We're portraying farming life. And we sort of come across our main character. Our main character's named Scarlett. Mm-hmm. Yep. And quite quickly becomes apparent she's in love with someone named Ashley. And the question is raised, does he love her?
Yep. So Scarlett is a young girl. She must be a teenager, late teens, 16 to 18, that kind of age bracket. Clearly in love with someone named Ashley we hadn't seen yet. She's coming to the foray that, okay, she's the main character of the movie. It wasn't at all very explicit as to what the upcoming potential conflict was, but it was pretty clear. It was based in Georgia. It was on this cotton farm. Clear as day. It was the lead up to the Civil War.
Yes.
The American Civil War.
Yes, that's the war that they're alluding to that we didn't understand at this point.
Yes. So it's focusing in on this this farm, this area that's being farmed for cotton and for other bits and pieces. There's Scarlett, who's the daughter of, the person, the dad that owns the farm originally. She's young, impressionable, seems pretty early on like a pretty stubborn, a bit of a bratty kind of character, and very much focused on this Ashley guy.
Yes, yeah, very much so. So at this point, they're getting ready to go to a barbecue. All right, and I can only imagine how delicious
Brisket.
a southern barbecue would be.
Oh my God. Sign me up.
We'll remove the slave and racist trimmings, but we'll take the meat from the south at that time.
Yep.
So Scarlett's going to this barbecue. Her dad pulls her aside in a bit of a scene and sort of tells her that this is going to be actually announcing his engagement.
Yeah, to a whole nother girl named
Yes.
Melanie,
Yeah.
who's been in the picture for a while.
Yeah.
But in Scarlett's eyes, she might as well not exist. Like, there's a moment there where she sees Ash again. We get to introduce to Ashley's character, and he's there standing behind Melanie, like grabbing her by the shoulders as if they've been together for God knows how long.
Yes.
And you actually look at Scarlett, and she's just staring at Ashley like he's a god, completely bypassing the fact that there's a human being in between them
Yeah.
named Melanie.
Yeah. It was actually a big part of our drinking game was drink every time Scarlett. You don't understand why Scarlett's obsessed with Ashley.
We don't, but also, like, other part of the drinking game is that anytime that Melanie comes across, super sweet, we also drank because she never acknowledged or, addressed the issue with Scarlett that she was clearly hunting Ashley this whole time, throughout the whole movie. And she was just a lovely, lovely, nice character.
Yeah.
And supposedly, in her mind, best friends with Scarlett.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. So they're at this party, and my God, I don't know. Hang on. I've skipped ahead. We see a scene with Scarlett, and she's surrounded by men.
Yeah, so we commented on this. So fair play. Let's call it out now. Scarlett, bit of a hussy. She loved the attention. She loves giving all the guys around her the idea that they had a chance with her.
Yes.
And she played on it.
I would.
Time.
You say hussy, I say fuck girl.
I was trying to frame wording around the time, but okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so definitely loved playing along that fact. And look, she was young, attractive. All the guys liked her.
Yes.
They were flocking to her, right?
Yeah. The next scene we see is nap time, and I don't know why this isn't a thing at parties.
Oh, this is amazing. Please tell me about nap time.
So all of the girls at the barbecue essentially get into their 90s. I don't know the right term, but they take their like formal dresses off and they all lie in beds. I'm not gonna go too far into who, but someone is fanning them to keep them cool while they sleep.
I am. So basically at these barbecues, which is great because when I have a good barbecue or I cook a brisket, we also like to have a bit of a siesta afterwards, but this is the formal way of doing it. So what happens is you have a big feed, you have this big barbecue, and then all the women, they get partially unchanged, just into something comfortable, and they all sleep in this same kind of big room together to nap it out while the men talk business.
Yes.
They all go into another room, they stay up, they drink whiskey, smoke cigars, and I picked this before we even went to the
yes,
next
you were
scene.
calling it.
So
Where are all the
guaranteed.
men? I bet you they're drinking whiskey right
And
now.
smoking cigars.
Yes,
and where
you
were they? Drinking whiskey, smoking cigars, downstairs, in a room, talking politics, still talking about the potential of the upcoming Civil War.
Yes.
What a vibe.
Yeah. So in reference to the Civil War, I think it was a hero. Well, maybe hero is the wrong word. But Rhett, who we're going to talk about a fair bit, I'm pretty sure he's the one that says this. But all we have to contribute to this Civil War from the South side is cotton, slaves, and arrogance.
All we've got is cotton and slaves and arrogance.
That's treacherous. I refuse to listen to any renegade talk.
Yeah. Good cotton, though.
So we next see a scene where Scarlett is told by Ashley that he is going to be marrying a girl named Melanie.
Yep.
All right. She's not happy about this.
God, no.
She's obviously infatuated by
Massive
him.
little brat.
Maybe I've got this slightly out of order, but then she throws a vase at the wall.
Oh, yeah, they're in the room. So
Yeah.
they have this big blowout where, Scarlett kind of confesses her love to Ashley. Ashley's like, I'm marrying Melanie, relax. And Scarlett, spoiled brat that she is, throws this vase across the room. And who's sleeping on the couch?
Rhett?
Clark Gable.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
Acting in the role of Rhett.
Yeah.
So
same
he
person.
was in this scene earlier when they were talking about the Civil War with the cigars and whiskey, but we also see him now in this next scene. Our boy Clark Gable's back. And he is looking as fine as ever.
If I had a man crush on someone.
What a man.
My second man crush, Nicolas Cage.
Clark Gable.
Clark Gable.
I mean,
Ooh. No. Closely tied with, who's the other guy that, who's the guy from
Jeremy Clarkson.
Waterworld?
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. Sorry. Thank you for that.
60-year-old Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Only 60-year-old Kevin
Only.
Costner. No younger.
No.
I don't want to be a weirdo.
Yeah. Clark Gable's the man.
Yeah.
He's in.
All right. So the next thing we see is war breaks out. And it happens during the barbecue. And everyone's going off to enlist.
But hang on. You missed something very important. I have to stop you there.
Oh,
Barrett.
go, yeah.
So that scene's playing out. Now, Scarlett being scorned and really pissed off about everything that's happened and not winning Ashley, she does agree to marry someone.
Oh.
She agrees to marry Melanie's brother.
Yeah, his name is Charles.
No. Is it Charles?
Yes, Charles, yeah. I've got it written here.
What did I write down? Wallace. That was the last name? Anyway.
Charles Wallace, let's go with that.
So, marries Melanie's brother.
Yeah.
Right? Again, it was just purely just to be married and out of spite. And you don't really even see him anymore because they all run off to the Civil War because it all begins at the same time.
Yeah.
And by next scene, I'm not jumping ahead too far. I don't think I am. He's already dead. He dies from the measles.
Oh, he immediately died.
Right?
From the measles.
She gets a letter. He's dead in the Civil War from the measles. I feel like she's been married for 2.5 minutes. And it's basically back at the farm in the house because obviously she's not gone out to war. And she's in all black and she's supposed to be in mourning.
Yeah.
But not so much, Barrett.
No, she's definitely not him.
Tell us a bit more.
Look, I'm gonna. I have a point in here to talk about a fact, but I want to finish this scene and then come back to my fact. So, Rhett, he's back on screen, and basically they're at this event trying to raise money for the Civil War. I think, is what they're doing, and basically all the guys that are dating girls or like interested in girls, like it's definitely. If a girl and a guy have a mutual agreement, then the guy will bid on the girl to take her out on a date.
Something like that.
And, all that money will go to the Civil War.
Yeah.
They're only bidding on the people they're interested in.
Yes.
And what does our hero Rhett do?
Mr. Clark Gable, or Rhett as the movie calls him, steps forward and says, I want to bid $300 on Scarlett.
Almost. 150.
Oh, I thought it was 300.
What? I don't know. I wrote 150 in gold.
No, I'm positive it was
All
300.
right, let's go with 300. That
Yeah.
sounds better anyways. What did Alex that also watched the movie with us, she converted it to like $7,000 or something? It was a lot.
Oh, big time. And they're all like in awe, but she's into Rhett. She's into Clark. Oh, who wouldn't be? But she is. Yeah.
But the person running the bidding says, no, you can't have her.
She's in mourning.
She's a widow in mourning.
But even before that, before this party happened, Scarlett's trying to play this part of being in mourning, but she's clearly not in mourning. She didn't give a shit about this guy, and she's frustrated that she can't go to parties. She's frustrated that she can't do what she wants to do. She's frustrated that she has to wear all black, and it's not even the color that she likes. It's pretty telling of a character, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that leading up to this, and then even at the party, she's playing this role where she's behind some counter or whatever she's doing. She's not supposed to be having fun or be involved, but obviously Rhett is trying to drag her out because he likes her, and Scarlett's looking for any opportunity to be drawn out of this hell that she's been put in terms of, mourning the loss of her fucking husband. But yeah.
Yeah. So she basically speaks up for herself and says, yes, she wants to go. So I do want to weave in a fact right here because I think that's like sort of the end of that scene. So Clark Gable, playing the character named Rhett there, Did you know that he was originally picked to play the role of Rat, but was unable to because of the fact he was under contract to MGM?
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So what was the other Selznick
Yeah.
was the people. They were the people that owned the rights to the movie. They were
Yep.
going to produce the movie.
Yep.
They wanted Clark Gable to play Rat, but couldn't have him because he was under contract to MGM.
Right. Yeah.
So what ended up happening was MGM came on board. They footed half the money to produce the film. Selznick had to continue to pay Clark Gable's salary for the duration of the filming, so they really got the short end of the straw. And then once the movie was produced, they went 50-50 on the profits.
That's interesting because, Clark Gable's, salary must have been huge at that time.
Oh, yeah. Very, very famous actor at this point. Has several Academy Awards. Best Picture, Best Actor.
Well, while you're on that, I was throwing this bit of feedback. So the movie itself received 10 Academy Awards.
10?
It won 10 Academy Awards and was nominated in total for 13.
Why do I have a different number?
What do you mean?
I have 8 out of 13.
No, I got 10.
Oh.
So, no, you know why? Because 2 were honorary.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So massive, right? But also something worth pointing out. So Best Supporting Actress was given to a Hayley McDaniel, and she was the first African-American woman to win an Academy Award. She was the maid.
Oh, yes. She plays a significant role in the movie, and a fantastic role, by the way, of
Yes.
bringing people back into line throughout the
She
film.
was great, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the end of that scene after Rat has convinced his bidding, or completed his bidding, and Scarlett has said yes. He's dancing with her. He tells her she wants love. She says no. Shot him down.
Yep. She's a prickly character.
Yeah.
I suppose that's playing out a little bit, but I suppose what happens next is the Civil War is heating up. And Atlanta, where they are, and in Georgia, it's under fire now, right? So the Yankees are moving in. It's getting a lot more intense. There's a few scenes in between there where you're looking for updates on the Civil War. A lot of the South men are dying, but also the Yankees too. But it's really getting aggressive now, right?
Yeah.
But I guess we're seeing there where this main city that's close to where this farm is, Tara, I think they call it, the general farm.
Yep.
It's now under cannon fire by what's his name, Sherman.
Sherman, yeah.
Yep.
One of the generals.
The
for
Yankees are coming, basically.
for North
right?
America, essentially.
Yep.
Yep.
So what happens next, Barrett?
There is, just before all of that happens, a sentence that I'd really want to point out that Rhett, Clark Gable's character, says to Scarlett, and it is, "I'm the only man over 16 and under 60 who can show you a good time."
That's some great one-liners. Yes, you're right. That was one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So just to give a bit more context of the character, so Rhett was someone that he had a bit of a reputation for, one, not wanting to get married. He was a bit of a playboy. Two, had a shitload of money.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure where the money came from, whether it was family or not, but he also, he'd failed like a bunch of prestigious schools and got expelled and this and that. He was a bad boy, right? He was a bit of a trouble child.
Yes.
But super wealthy. He was an older gentleman too. When we think of the characters here, whether it was Ashley or whether it was Clark Gable's character, Rhett, they're all like in their 40s, right? And Scarlett, Melanie, these girls are like late teenagers. They're like 16 to 18 at best.
20 maximum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's lots of death going on. The Yankees are winning. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, they actually win in the end. But
Well, and you mentioned that too. I mean, I think everyone knows that. But we looked up the kind of rough death toll in the Civil War. Do you remember what it was?
no.
So we looked it up, and because I was curious, I wasn't really sure. And they're saying that, about 680,000 people died in the Civil War.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's big numbers.
Big numbers.
Yep. So there's lots of death going on. But we do find out that Ashley, who is Melanie's husband at this point, I think so,
they're married.
husband, is coming home for Christmas, and Scarlett
Furlough,
just throws herself at Ashley as soon as he
Cries
arrives.
again.
Yeah. She is desperate for him. So much so, I've got kiss written down. Did they kiss at this point?
It might have been a quick peck.
Yeah.
But actually, in fairness, he's just consistently rejected her.
Yes.
And he did so again here.
Yes. Yeah.
He's definitely leading her on a little bit. Definitely make it seem like he loves her too, but it's more his honor that's standing in the way in terms of having that accountability now towards Melanie because they're married and it being kind of about that rather than the fact that he loves Melanie.
Yep.
It's a little bit flaky. It's a bit unclear. So he's leading her on a little bit, but he still shuts her down every time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the horror of war is continuing. There's pain and suffering. Rhett picks Scarlet up in a horse and cart in order to take her out of the city.
Yes.
Right? Because the North are winning at this point. The South are having to retreat.
They're shelling the town because they're looking to come in.
Yes, yeah. So Scarlet has had enough of the war. All right. So they're heading south. They're running south. There's some really good scenes at this point of there's a building on fire.
Yes.
And
some real good cinematography and some effects. It was really good.
Yeah. But I've skipped a bit. They're all looking to run south, but Melanie can't go.
Yeah. So what Scarlett has wanted to do a couple times through all this is run back to the farm, right? Basically where mum and dad are.
Yes.
But she stopped last minute because Melanie's actually heavily pregnant with Ashley's kid.
Yes.
And they're best friends, right? Even though, Scarlett's a bit of a hussy and trying to steal her husband. But
fuck her.
Yeah. She acknowledges that she can't leave because Melanie's not fit to travel because she's heavily pregnant.
Yes. And she goes into labor at this
She
point.
does.
Yeah.
So she goes into labor. The war and the battle is really heating up. But she stays by Melanie's side.
Yeah. And I guess there's this really annoying actor, this maid girl, and she's annoying because of her voice rather than more than anything else.
Yeah.
But she says essentially that no problem, I can deliver the baby. I've delivered heaps of babies. And then when it comes down to it,
no. She's also one of the help with the most annoying voice in the world.
All right. So
let's speed it up a little bit because we're not even halfway through this movie. And I'll just add that there's this epic scene now multiple scenes where the baby gets born.
Yep.
Clark Gable or Rhett shows up again.
Yep.
On his little horse and carriage, picks them all up, puts the baby, that annoying voiced helper that they have.
Yes.
And the mum into the carriage.
Yes.
Scarlett and him are riding off.
Yes.
And they fight off a bunch of people that are trying to also get out and trying to steal the horse and all that sort of stuff. People are looting. It's madness.
Yep.
Fire, flames, you name it.
Yes.
But he gets him out.
Yeah, it gets him out.
There's also a scene where he kind of firmly acknowledges that, he loves Scarlett. She's also still resistant. They do kiss, though. There's a big kissing scene.
Yeah, there's a kiss scene.
Fire and explosions in the background. Looks very impressive. But she kind of again repels him, and he goes to, also fight the war and go back into the battle. And she then basically takes that horse and carriage. He leaves it all behind with her to get them out of there and get them to the farmland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's where they make it to. They make it back to the farm.
Eventually, they get back there. And I think before they get back there, though, the intermission happens.
No, the intermission happens after immediately they get back to the farm, intermission.
Yeah. Right, they go back to the farm, intermission. So let's do the intermission now. They get back there. So the intermission or center act, which is some weird word for in between two acts.
Yep.
Happens. And we get a bit of a breather. We get a bit of a break.
Yeah, we had a few more drinks at that point.
We certainly had, but that's a good recap of the first half of the movie.
Yes, yeah.
So we're 2 hours in by this point.
Yes, yeah.
And you know what?
We are saving a considerable time. 35 minutes to listen to 2 hours of a movie, and we guarantee we'll have the other 2 hours done. Close to 60
within
minutes.
that time. We're speeding this up because we want to acknowledge that we don't want to turn this into a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah. So. After the intermission, the first thing that happens is the war has continued to move further south. I don't know if you know much about the Civil War, but it was Abraham Lincoln basically working to abolish slavery.
Yeah, and the South didn't like that.
The South wanted to keep their slaves.
Yep.
The North said slavery was bad. The North fought the South. The North won. and we see a scene back on the farm where the slaves have been taken away. And Scarlett and Melanie and a few other people are now having to work on the farm picking cotton.
Yeah, but we did miss some important facts. So they get back to the farm as well, but Scarlett was hoping to see all her family and the people that she cared about there. They were there, except her mother had died.
Yes, yeah.
So her mother did die, and then it kind of skips forward. She was obviously heartbroken about that. The dad's a bit of a mess. Then it goes back to them trying to rebuild the Tara farm. They've got the family working there, the people that are familiar with us working there. Scarlett's also working, vigorously with her hands, getting into the nitty-gritty. We're starting to see her character develop a bit more, where she's not this petulant little child.
Yes.
And she's actually having to do the work. She's getting amongst it, and she's becoming less of an annoying character as a result, more of a well-rounded, mature individual, right? Which is good and pleasant. And we're also seeing a lot of wounded people from the South being looked after on the farm as they're trying to look after everyone and themselves.
Yeah, there was the scene I want to talk about quickly where a Yankee or North American comes into the house. I don't really know 100% what his intentions were. They didn't seem good.
He was definitely, at the very least, trying to rob them, but it seemed also a little more when he saw Scarlett was there.
Yeah, and Scarlett ends up shooting him in the face.
Yep, so she's on the
Great
staircase. He picks up that she's there. He kind of picks up that she's hiding something, which is the handgun at the time, but he's also in the middle of robbing her, and he's approaching her on the staircase, trying to work out what she's got on her, and it just also seems creepy. And she just whips out this handgun, boom, straight in the face. And like nothing, she just recovers from it instantly, which is pretty telling of her character, I think, too. She just did what she needed to do. Checked them all out, saw that he had like $40, $50 on him, took the cash. Melanie's there. She's a bit more shaken by the situation, certainly not Scarlett.
Yeah.
And anyway, they worked towards calming everyone down, saying it was a misfire while they were cleaning the handgun.
Yep.
And hide the body.
Yeah. So
Loot and hide the body.
Loot and hide the body, yeah. So they're dealing with the post-war sort of stuff. We find out Ashley, Melanie's husband, has been captured. He then comes home. Oops, sorry.
Before that, though, so there was also a moment where Scarlett finds out that Clark Gable, or Rhett, has been taken prisoner.
Sure it's not Ashley?
I don't know.
Okay.
Two separate scenes.
Yep.
So when we lost track of Rhett after they escaped Atlanta and that big fire scene.
Oh, he went to war. Yeah.
He went to war. Anyway, he got captured at some point, and they were trying to, were claiming that he'd stolen a bunch of funds or something like that from the Yankees or whatever else, because he was a rich dude, and he wasn't giving anything up, and he wasn't giving his money up, right? So he was imprisoned.
Yeah.
And she did go and see him.
Yeah.
But they made a special dress for her, didn't they?
Special dress. Was this out of the drapes?
Yes. Yeah.
That was a horrible dress. I don't want to talk about it.
It was amazing. So just to recap, again, we're accelerating some of this. So she finds out through the grapevine that, he's been locked up. At the same time, even though, she murdered some random Yankee that rocked up at the house, the taxes were going up from the Yankees for the farm they were staying on, and she was desperately trying to acquire money, right?
Yes.
So amongst all that, one of her tactics was, when she found out that Rhett was in prison, was to convince him, one way or another, to hand over some funds, the $300 that she needed to pay the taxes.
Yep.
Actually, looking back, that value is $300. Maybe the value that Rhett was trying to pay for her for that date dance was $150. Fair enough. So there was definitely $300 to try and pay this tax off.
Yes,
right?
yeah, definitely $300.
Yeah. So they make, because they're all poor on this farm. She's been working the farm. It's been really hard going. They noticed that the drapes in this house, it used to be really affluent and they used to be really well off, were made out of this green velvet, right?
Yes, yeah.
So they pulled down these green drapes and made this really extravagant dress. It looked ugly as shit.
It was horrible.
But it, I suppose, looked good for the time. Anyway, went into the prison and saw Rhett in prison, managed to have a conversation with him. Again, there was all this, sexual friction, and, they're talking about them, and Rhett was telling her that, he wanted her and those sorts of bits and pieces. He made a comment, and I quote, "You look good enough to eat." Love that.
I hope you have the next comment written down because...
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed by the dress as well. And then there's this moment where he picks up that she's trying to play him, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of inquires, like, what are you chasing? Money. And she brings up the fact that she needs the $300 for the tax. She's pretty abrupt about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what am I, some kind of fool? And then she, pretty upfront alludes to the fact that, well, okay, if you're not going to marry me, she kind of like enticed that idea.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, I'm not the marrying type. And she's like, okay, but, I can do other things.
Yeah. Yes.
And this is Clark Gable's words, not mine. He says to her, "You're not worth $300. You'll never mean anything more than misery to any man."
Oh, man.
Savage.
It is. It's some savage sentences.
Yeah. So that dream kind of dies. He's still in prison.
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to get hanged. She thinks so too. She leaves, tries to work out a plan B.
Yeah, plan B is another guy. I didn't write down his name yet. Maybe I did. I don't remember.
Maybe he was Wallace.
But she gets into the cart with this man and goes, geez, it's kind of cold and I've left my muff at home. For anyone that doesn't remember, the muff is the thing that you put your hands in to keep them warm.
Mandy will appreciate it.
Yeah. So she asks to put her hands in his pocket. The scene fades. The next thing we find out
It is Wilkes.
is they're married.
Yeah. So she basically seduced this other rich businessman. His last name was Wilkes.
Yeah.
He's called Wilkes.
Yeah.
And he covers the debt.
He covers the debt, and the very next scene after that is his girl that he was dating or fiance. I don't know who she was, but she was in tears that she'd lost out to Scarlett. And it's probably a good point to point out that another part of our drinking game was every time Scarlett got married, take a drink.
Yeah, Scarlett was a hustler. Like she did what she needed to do, but she's very much still, despite the war and the conflict, self-centered and making sure that she looks after herself, her family, and the farm.
Yeah.
Right? Then it kind of goes to that next scene where she gets attacked in the woods.
Yeah, so she gets attacked in the woods. She works to defend herself. I wrote it down as a carjacking.
It was a carjacking, you're
Yeah,
right.
not
Yeah,
like
it
a
was
car.
carjacking.
It was
carjacking.
She defends herself and eventually gets away.
Yep.
But this great character named Giant Sam, Large Sam,
Big Sam.
Big Sam,
The original B.I.G.
Big Sam, he saves her. All right. And the next scene is the men have gone into the woods to clean the woods.
Yeah, so post the Civil War, there's basically the situation where there's a lot of Yankees and other mercs or rebels, whatever the hell you want to call them, hanging out in the woods, and they've been looting and doing all sorts of things, robbing people coming through the woods and through the paths, and and so we'll gloss over it quickly, but while she was being attacked, this carjacking before Big Sam showed up, these guys weren't only trying to rob her. It was pretty clear they were trying to do other things.
Yes.
And Big Sam stopped them. So, shout out to Big Sam. And at that point, when she got back, she was, obviously safe. The husband, so Wilkes, and Ashley and the others who are obviously part of the original South, they were fed up with these, Yankees and rebels and whoever else they were hanging out in these woods.
Yep.
And they lied to the girls and the wives, Melanie and Scarlett, but, said they were going out for a political meeting.
Yep.
What they're actually doing was to clear out the woods by killing all the people that were hanging out in the woods.
Yeah.
As revenge for what happened to Scarlett and the frustration about their presence.
Yeah. And what happens to Scarlett's husband when he's out there cleaning the woods? Do you remember?
So, before we find out what happens, Rhett shows up again, storms through the door, and is asking Melanie, like, what's going on? I know there's no political meeting. Things are about to go down. Tell me where they are. She tells them, and we work out that they're obviously not in a political meeting. They're trying to kill all these people in the woods that, tried to hurt Scarlett.
Yep.
And he then rocks back up with Ashley in his arms.
Yes.
Who's like waddling, and he seems to be grabbing his shoulder or his hip or something. Because at this point as well, the police have showed up earlier because they wanted to arrest Ashley.
Do you think it's Ashley? Well, no, I think it's her husband.
Yeah, Ashley.
Wilkes.
No,
Oh, okay.
it was Ashley. They were trying to arrest Ashley. So they were trying to arrest Ashley because they knew there was no political meeting and he wasn't where he said he was, and they had a theory and they had been investigating that these people were trying to attack the people in the woods, right? And they just played dumb because they actually didn't know really much at the time. So those cops were waiting outside this whole time, and then when Rhett showed up with Ashley being what we think is wounded, and I'm pretty sure he was wounded, they stormed through the door. There's a lot of commotion, but basically what's happening is Rhett's big plan is to make it out that Ashley is just severely drunk because they were out with the hookers.
Yes.
He's very much close with the madam, with the hookers and the prostitutes. And so he's made up that lie, which the girls just all play along with.
Yeah.
Because he's actually wounded from this assault.
Yes.
But they're making it out that he's actually just drunk to get the cops out of the house.
Yes. And this is where I got mixed up, because this is the very next scene. They tell Scarlett, Scarlett's like, oh, it's all well and good that you're home, but where's my husband? Oh, he's lying dead in a gutter. He got shot in the face.
Because they managed to clear out the police. Ashley's lying in the bed. They're trying to heal him. He's obviously hurt.
Yeah.
And eventually, Rhett just goes to Scarlett, like, do you want to know what happened to your husband or not?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah, I'm married. That's right. And he goes, well, he got shot in the head and is dead on the sidewalk.
Yeah. So then she takes up drinking. All right, and gets fairly involved in drinking. During some of her drunk escapades, she's like putting cologne. She's drinking cologne. She's putting cologne on herself to try and hide the smell of the
brandy.
the drinking or the brandy that she's drinking.
Yeah.
I've summarized this. She then agrees to marry Rhett.
Very much so. So basically, look, she's now, again, without a husband, all the stuff's happening. She's looking for financial support as well. Anyway, there's always been that connection between her and Rhett. Rhett obviously loves her, despite the fact he's vividly aware that she loves Ashley.
Yes.
But they get married.
They do get married, yeah.
There's more and more, like, I suppose in this movie, there's time skips that are happening that are really not explained, but there's definitely time skips. There's another time skip here because, they're now married, I suppose, happily, as much as you can describe it to be.
Yep.
And they've got a kid. Bonnie?
Yeah, they want to go back to the farm, and then they have a baby girl.
They do.
Named Bonnie.
Named Bonnie. So they have that daughter. And what happens next, Barrett?
We're going to summarize some of this stuff because it's not great to talk about. But just imagine in your head what happens when a fuck boy meets a fuck girl. Imagine the fuckery that ensues.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're a little bit toxic towards each other, and
Yeah.
there's still this clout of Ashley hanging over Scarlett's head, which Rhett's really aware of. But anyway, they've tried to, I don't know, make the best of it, but they've definitely been having conflict.
Yeah, there's actually a scene in that whole scene that we're not going to go too far into.
Well, hang on, but before this though, we got to talk about Bonnie. That all happens before that.
No, this happens before Bonnie goes up.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. So there's actually a scene that happens in there where Scarlett is being asked to go to a birthday party by Rhett.
Yes.
And he says to her, I want you to look your part tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sit well with me. There's some stuff's going down. That's
there
not
is
great.
definitely friction there. And then anyway, there's some of these arguments still happening. And then Bonnie's out there enjoying her pony ride. And what happens next? And we should probably mention, because we didn't before we do this, is we mentioned that the mother died when Scarlett managed to get back in the house way back when, after this big war broke out in Atlanta. What we forgot to mention is that while she was trying to get this $300 before she got married for the second time, some people were rocking up to try and buy the farm because they knew they couldn't afford this $300 tax that the Yankees were implementing. And the dad, who was a little bit of a mess at this point, got on a horse to try and chase him out of his farm, and he actually fell off the horse and died.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. And
So the dad's dead. That was a part of our drinking game.
Yes.
Anytime a member of Scarlett's family members dies from drinking, you have to drink.
So we jump ahead now. You've got Bonnie, who's into horse riding. She's riding a pony.
Yes.
What happens, Barrett?
Well, she goes to do essentially the same thing, do a jump, doesn't do the jump, falls off the horse and dies.
Super sad.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time that happens, so the daughter's died. Melanie is also dying from a pregnancy that's gone wrong.
Yeah, so they led up to this a little bit, but she was explaining to Rhett how, childbirth is the only thing that matters and it's magical, rah, rah, rah. And she's pregnant again, even though she seems to be like a lot older, especially for that time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't safe to do, but she didn't care. She was doing it anyway, and sure enough, it was leading to her demise. So she was really unwell and she was dying. And it was obviously from the pregnancy, which has led to everyone again gathering towards her death.
Yeah. Scarlett, once again, throws herself at Ashley. All right. She's been in love with this guy since the start of the movie, and we're like 3.5 hours in at this point. And she gets shot down again.
She does.
But this time when she gets shot down, she realizes, I don't care.
Well, she realizes that, and she also tells herself, whether it's real or not, that Ashley was always truly in love with Melanie.
Yes.
And Melanie was a sweetheart, right?
Oh, yes. That girl did nothing wrong.
He definitely, and there was other things maybe we didn't talk about, but like I said, Ashley didn't help himself. He led her along a lot, gave her the wrong idea many different times. Even though he never went full send, he definitely didn't shut it down.
Yeah.
And again, it was very clear to Scarlett finally that he did love Melanie. She was dying. That he's never going to love Scarlett in the same way. And she'd been chasing up the wrong tree, basically. But she's realizing this, but Rhett is also aware of this conversation, and he storms out before this conversation's done, and he's had enough. And she kind of realizes, like, no, I actually do love Rhett. What am I doing?
Yes.
Realizes Rhett's left. Ashley goes in to be with Melanie, who's basically dead now.
Yep.
And she's now chasing after Rhett to try and tell him that, she's wrong. He loves her. Let's work it out.
Yeah. So in that scene where Rhett realizes I guess he's always known he's on the back burner, but he's really cemented in that position at this point because of everything we've just spoken about.
And also their relationship has been further strained by the death of Bonnie.
Yeah.
It's also incredibly upsetting, and they've never really recovered from
So you did mention that Rhett left at that point, and Rhett says a very important sentence in the movie, and I'm going to take this because I did some research about it. My wife did call it out halfway through the podcast, and
I hope you're going to get the right sentence.
I don't want her to ruin this. She said, frankly, my dear...
that's not what happened.
Wait, what?
That's not what happened then.
That's exactly what I've got written here.
That's wrong.
Okay.
I'm stopping you there.
Go.
Okay.
You go. You don't ruin this.
Okay. Sorry, that's why I interrupted, Barrett. Okay, so the last scene's kind of unfolding. So Clark Gable, or Rhett, has run back to their big family home.
Yep.
Rhett, realizing that, he's disappeared while she was talking to Ashley, has run back to the family home in search of Rhett.
Yep.
Finds Rhett packing up in the family home.
Yep.
Rhett's packing up all his stuff. She's trying to tell him the epiphany that she's had, that, no, Rhett, I love you. I'm sorry. Let's work things out. But Rhett has had enough. It's like, I've done this, X, Y, and Z. When Bonnie died, what was left of us died as well. You were only ever half in. I'm done. I'm past it. And she's begging him to stay, right? And then anyway, he's packed up his stuff, or at least what he wants to take with him. He's saying, look, life's too short not to be around people that you love or that want to be with you, and I'm going to figure it out somewhere else. He's walking out the front door. She's still begging him to stay. And as he's walking out that front door, she says again, like, what can I do? What am I going to do here by myself? He turns around, and what does he say?
He says, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Red, you go. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Yes, he does.
Right? And this
Famous saying.
This is where I want to weave my fact in. I don't know if you found this on the internet.
So,
did you know they got fined?
What do you mean fined?
Oh, here we go. You didn't research it. We didn't see it in your research.
Okay.
So they got fined $5,000 by the Hays Code
For saying that?
for saying the word damn
Oh, my God.
in a movie.
It's like the most iconic verse ever.
It sums up that moment perfectly. It's the right word for the moment. I'm in 100% agreement. deal with the fine. Look at the money they made. What did they make? They made $390 million. Do you think they really care about a $5,000 fine about saying the word damn?
At the end of the day, Barrett is the most iconic scene probably in movie history, and he nailed it.
Yeah.
Clark Gable, our boy.
Clark Gable.
What a man.
Yeah.
What a man.
Hopefully, I don't know. We haven't looked ahead to see if he comes back.
He's coming back. He's not dead yet.
All right, cool. Do you want me to finish it off?
Finish it off, mate.
Finish it off. All right, so Scarlett is broken from this, and the scenes are winding up for the end of the movie. It seems like she's going to be alone forever, but she does make one vow in the closing scenes of the movie that she's going to get him back.
Yeah, she is insistent.
Maybe they left it open for a sequel. I don't know.
Maybe. Gone with the Wind, Part 2.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a sequel. I haven't done any research.
Gone with the Hurricane. Gone with the Tornado.
Gone with the slightly aggressive, more wind.
But look, mate, let's wrap it up. It's a 4-hour movie, but our podcast doesn't have to be.
Yes.
And I think we've nailed it. So
I need to tell you
go.
that we are 56 minutes in right now.
Mate, we've
Well,
smashed it.
55 minutes
We've
in
smashed
because,
it.
because we started a
Look,
minute
there we are.
early. We do a bit of fluffing around before we start. So super happy. We have just summed up a 4-hour movie in exactly 1 hour.
Exactly. And look, definitely want to highlight there was a lot of storyline, a lot of plot. I think it more speaks to me and Barrett having done this a few times now. We're able to sum this 4-hour movie up so quickly. But boy, a lot happened.
Yes.
And I'm just going to say it. It was a bloody good movie.
Yeah, if you liked this story, watch it.
I'm just marking my star rating.
Yeah. All right,
I'm
you
gonna
write
do.
you write your star rating down. I'll write mine down as well, just so
'Cause we never talk about
just
this.
so we're not on the same page.
Look, let's wrap this up because I want this to be under an hour because we can do it. And we've done a great job doing it. Look,
Yes.
final feedback for me. I don't have any final facts except to say, look, I think it was a great movie, a great storyline. Yeah, it was really long, but I actually really enjoyed watching it. I'd never watched that movie in full before. It was a banger.
If you want to enjoy it a little bit more, Google Gone with the Wind drinking game. And there's a Tumblr.
Absolutely. And as much as we had a lot to drink, it didn't detract us or my opinion of this movie because we stayed clear-headed enough to know that it was a good film.
Oh, it was fantastic. All right.
Barrett.
Who's releasing the number first? Because I've written my number down. You've also got your hand on
Hang
your
on.
number.
Do you have any final feedback about the movie?
Do not. I'm ready to go.
How many Barretts out of 5?
I gave it 4.5 Barretts out of Barrett.
Is that the highest you've ever go?
That is the highest I've ever given. This
Jesus
movie
Christ.
is going to leap ahead of It Happened One Night.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that was a 4.
Look, for me, I thought it was an excellent movie. I really enjoyed it. Definitely some flaws, I think, and I think that comes with age of the film and everything else. But long story short, I gave it 4.
Oh, we are close once again.
Very close.
I don't think we're gonna go too far apart with this. 4.5. I wrote it down. You can see it right there. And
Yeah, 4 stars.
you wrote 4 X's on this.
Yeah, I was-
Why wouldn't you just write the number 4?
I don't know. I was thinking of a 4X can, I guess. No, look. Really liked the movie. We could definitely tell it was a banger. Clark Gable makes everything good. As much as Scarlett's character, she was this annoying, whiny little brat to start with. She did grow into the character.
Yes.
And as much as she was still a bit of a brat at heart, and she never really realized what she had until she lost it.
Yes.
And she was chasing this Ashley guy for God knows what reason until death, essentially. But she nailed the role, and clearly, I'm pretty sure she won Best Actress. Like, it makes sense. She was brilliant.
Yeah.
The awards that the movie won and everything else, the money it brought in, makes sense. It was a banger. Yeah, it was bloody long, but it was almost telling 2 stories, and I loved it.
So I'm going to summarize here. So if you were to watch any 2 movies between 1930 and 1939, we're going to probably push 1940 into the next year. But It Happened One Night and Gone with the Wind. Take those 2 movies and watch them.
I'll pay that.
These are watchable movies.
Absolutely.
All the other stuff, just listen to the podcast, accept how we summarized it, and move on with your life.
Absolutely.
Don't spend your time.
Some of the cinematography in this movie, if you're watching it in 4K HDR, if they were to reinvent it, filming it now, it would look amazing.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. So, well done. But look, final notes, Barrett?
No final notes. Genuinely enjoyed this one. Enjoyed the drinking game.
Loved it. I think we're going to continue on. We'll have a bit of a games night and just get further hecked. I had a blast, Barrett, as always with you. Until next week.
Yeah, my dream hasn't come to fruition yet. Fruition?
What's your dream?
That we were going to have an argument and cancel our podcast.
It could happen. We'll see how tonight goes.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.